Is OpenAI's agent building blocks a big deal, or is it a big flop? That's what we're going to explore in this video, and let's get right into it. So the first of the building blocks is web search, which is really funny because they have this awesome sounding benchmark that sounds, oh, it's a benchmark, but they created the benchmark. That is for accuracy. I mean, that it's only comparing their own models, but still, you know, these benchmarks are already, all the benchmarks are already used largely as a marketing tool, more so than they actually reflect real world usage in a lot of cases. And to have to use your own benchmark and to brag about it does seem kind of silly. Additionally, this is a feature that I have had within my company, and we're not unique in this way, for a year, 2 years, for quite some time. The ability to go find search results and put them into the context window for your requests to the AI models. This is not solving a new problem. What this is doing is it's making something maybe slightly easier, maybe not. Sometimes when somebody builds this piece for you, there's a lot of decisions they make on the inside, like how do they break up the chunks, how do they go find certain things, how many results do they get, how much of the results do they put in the context window, do they put it all, do they put little pieces of it, are they cleaning up the stuff that they're scraping, how are they cleaning it up? All of that can matter in terms of the quality of the results you get back. So it's good to see that their own internal benchmark shows that it's getting better, but in general, like, this is to me a big underwhelming. This doesn't really add any value, at least to my business, and I think to most businesses. I think the one exception would be if you or your business have not actually done any of this. This could simplify some of your development initially. But at the same time, you're letting them make decisions for your business on how this works, and so you might actually end up shooting yourself in the foot a little bit here. The second thing they have is file search, which is essentially using a vector database to reference different files or pieces of those files in the response for the models. I have the same criticism of this that I have of the web search. This is not a new thing. This is something that we've been using for years, and that is very solvable already and has been solved. And also, even to the same extent, this is something where they're making a lot of decisions for you on the inside on how this works. There's a bunch of different ways to use vector databases. You have X amount of data. How do you break it up into chunks? Let's say you've got a big document. Do you break it up by sentence? Do you break it up by paragraph? Do you break it up by page? They're making these decisions for you, and the right answer, there's not one right answer for these things. Sometimes in some scenarios you want to break it up in pages, sometimes you want sentences, sometimes you want paragraphs, sometimes you want both. There's a lot of nuance to this that they're making for you, and again, they're not solving a new problem here. They're making it easier for new businesses or new people to come in and make things, which it has some value, but in my opinion it's marginal value. Let's take a step back and look at like the difference between releasing GPT-4 and this. You know, GPT-4 was a pretty monumental moment, or even GPT 3.5 ChatGPT. This seems pretty trivial in comparison. Now we're getting to the computer use. Now this is the first one that might actually be useful. I have not tested it yet. I will shoot a separate video where I will test this and see how good it is. Claude computer use is sort of underwhelming. Their demo of this, they don't really show a lot. I'll show a piece of it here, but they don't really give a lot of the details, and it's possible that it's kind of sculpted a little bit. And maybe there's a reason why they don't go too deep into it, because I expect it to be very similar to Claude in that it kind of works. It's very slow, but it kind of doesn't work, and it's a mixed bag. But it's the start of something that is much more useful. This is something that can be done right now, but is much more challenging than web search and file search. Infinitely more challenging, in my opinion. To actually create a generalized computer use code and building block and stuff using AI I've tried to build that, and that is much more challenging. And ultimately, for me and my business, we're small enough to where there's just so much that you have to put into the computer use that it didn't make sense for us to actually build our own. While with a web search and a file search, that makes a lot more sense for us to build our own, and it's much simpler, and it's just much simpler to solve. Well, computer use, I could see some genuinely good use cases for this. That's assuming it works, and I expect it to be pretty clunky at first, but it's good that they're finally putting this out through the API, and I'm assuming that it will get better. It's not necessarily a safe assumption, but let's actually take a look at their demo real quick. Actually, let's first look at their benchmarks. Again, I'm not a big fan of the benchmarks, but let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Computer use right here. Previous state of the art. That's what SOTA stands for. It's unclear. Maybe this is Claude. I'm not sure. But OS World, their current one right now. Okay, it's an improvement. Again, the benchmarks don't mean a whole lot, but I think it means a little bit. It's probably a little bit better, but 38.1% is probably not good enough for this to be used in a real world use case. For most automation cases right now, it probably makes the most sense for actually a custom script for it, and that I've got a few videos where I'm going to be showing that. There's another software, an open source library called Browser Use. It's really poorly named from a branding standpoint. I don't think that's what this means here, and it just does website automation, and it's really, really, really bad. It fails a lot. It misses a lot of stuff, and so I expect this to be of similar quality. I will get to the browser use in a second. Here they skip back to they're changing some of the structure of their responses from the AI from their API. This is how they do the vector store. It looks like you actually have to create it in the platform first. Okay, here is where they're actually doing the web search. As you can see the input here as they're adding that to show what will actually happen.
We'll issue a web search tool call to then go and find stuff that Kevin would like based on where he is. So the model was able to, just in the scope of one API call, find a bunch of Patagonia stores in Tokyo.
Just for you, Kevin.
Which actually corresponds to Kevin's preferences. He's been wearing a lot of Patagonia.
Okay, not exactly groundbreaking there. Let's go find the computer use case.
Go and make purchases on your behalf. So in order to do that, let's demonstrate the computer use tool. So we'll go ahead and add this. We're using the computer use preview model and the computer use preview tool. And we will ask, help me find my friend Kevin a new Patagonia jacket. What's your favorite color, Kevin?
Let's go with black.
And black. Can't have too many black Patagonia jackets. And what the model will do is it will ask us for a screenshot. And we have a Docker container running locally on this computer. And we will go ahead and send that screenshot to the model. It will look at the state of the computer and issue another action. Click, drag, move, type. And then we will execute that action, take another screenshot, send it back to the model. And then it will continue in this fashion until it feels that it's completed the task. And then return a final answer. So while this is kind of going and doing its thing, we'll hand it back to Nikunj.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so they had a Docker container on their computer. It looks like it was a Linux computer. It's possible that they were remoting into that or that it was set up separately. I'll have to see how that is set up, and again, I'll shoot a video on that. But notice they did the web browser, which is the easier thing to automate. The thing is, when you automate on in a desktop environment, you have less information than if you're trying to automate with a web browser. Like the HTML elements within a browser give a lot more information to the structure and are a lot easier to interact with on an automated basis. And so the fact that they showed just a browser use case is not very promising in my opinion, but we'll see. I'll test it, and that'll be a separate video. Okay, so now they're moving into agents. Even on their initial kind of slide, they had 3 new things. They actually have kind of 4 or 5, depending on how you want to look at it. So they have an SDK that's an open source library that allows you to create essentially an agent item. This is very, very much like LangChain. It's possible that they copied them to a significant degree. OpenAI is really good at copying what other people have done well. And so this is not a very transformative in my opinion. And again, what they're doing is they're making decisions for you on the inside in exchange for getting something up quicker. So there's some trade-offs. I'm not saying it's necessarily all bad, but in general, I don't find it to be personally very useful. Where it does start to get a little bit useful potentially, but again, and again, they're making decisions on the inside, so it could backfire. The more you lean on this, the more you're kind of building something more cookie cutter, which means you don't have as much of a moat, so to speak. But maybe that's not the need for your business. Maybe you just need to get something out really quickly. Where you can have kind of multi-agent frameworks. They've got like a swarm type framework, and that allows it to hand off between agents, and then there's like a triage agent. And then probably one of the most useful things if you're going to use their agent framework is the tracing of what's happening. The ability to kind of follow and document all of the actions of anything within your code, being able to see what's really happening. This is pretty useful. I would consider this to be probably the most value add part of this. And I know that again, LangChain has had something like this for over a year, so this is not like something new. And really among all of this, there's nothing in here that some other company hasn't already done. So I would say that overall this announcement is, a big meh from me. Now that depends. If computer usage is better than everybody else's, great. If there's something about their AI agents that is better than everybody else, which the first look past it isn't, it's just like a remake of LangChain, or there's something about their tracing that's better. Again, that doesn't seem to be the case. Then maybe there's something here, but there's no new thing here. There's no something here that's like, oh my God, nobody else has built this. You can't get this anywhere else. And so overall, I would say this is a big bleh. But at the same time, if you have never built any agents, if you've never used web search, if you've never used a vector database, and you're looking to get something out real quick, but you know Python or some of the other top languages, maybe JavaScript or something, this might actually be useful for you. Maybe the biggest clue that this was a meh was that there's no Sam Altman here. But at the same time, I see some people claiming, I saw some thumbnail, oh wow, they changed the game again. But I don't think that's a very accurate description here. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and share and subscribe. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great day. Bye.